Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to Late Night in the Lounge with your host, Jesse Flynn. Here at the conclusion of Monday Night Football, a bad outcome for me as I was on Baltimore minus the 4.5 in the Circa contest. This would have been what would have been a winning week if it would have gone my way at 3-2. Instead, unfortunately, we finished the week at 2-3. Currently sitting with 6 points, 6-9 on the season. It's just an unbelievably terrible start. I mean, we've had some bad beats, and then this game where I didn't know Matabuke and Van Noy and Jair Alexander's were all going to be out when I put my pick in. But still, Baltimore's offense just Lamar Jackson's refusal to throw the ball away when a play isn't there and taking sacks and putting his team in negative situations. You can't do that. You can't do that. I think if you take a sack at any point in a drive, the chances that you're going to score a touchdown on that drive drop to like 30%. I mean, it's just terrible. You lose yards and you lose a down. But so, yeah, here we've got the slides going. Let me do something real quick. Put this on manual. So, yeah, Jacksonville was one of my picks that actually got the job done this week. And they were against one of the top 5 picks, which was good for us. But I did not like the performance by Jacksonville. Trevor Lawrence didn't look very good. Brian Thomas Jr. still having drop issues. He's got to figure that out. That was really the two things I saw the most that really gave me concern. Their defense played well. They really got after C.J. Stroud and that weak offensive line of Houston. Pittsburgh also won, but really got outplayed by New England. New England had, I believe, 5 fumbles in that game, fumbles are like completely unpredictable as far as when they're going to happen, how many are going to happen. So a game like that, I think, is a fluke. I kind of like New England this week. They're going up against, let me see here. I have the lines right here. Oh, they're going against the Panthers. Now, this line's been on the move. Yesterday it was 4.5. Now it's 5.5. I don't know if it's going to get much better than that. That's kind of a high number for the Patriots against the Panthers team that looked like a world beaters against the Atlanta Falcons, which, of course, was another one of my decisions to go with. And I should have known better, man. I know not to put my personal feelings into the game because I'm not going to go against them if I think they're going to lose. But, boy, what an embarrassment. I even said in the video on the NFL contest show that I had concerns about their red zone offense, and then I don't think they got beyond the 30-yard line of the Panthers. It was just a disgusting display of offense. And then, well, you know what really pissed me off about that game? Is them putting Kirk Cousins in after the game was a blowout when it was 27-0. Like, if you're sitting Penix because he's not playing well and you know the game's out of reach, you don't want him to get hurt, why don't you put the third string guy in and let him get some reps? Why are you putting Kirk Cousins in there, the high-paid backup, when the game's was completely out of hand? You knew Penix wasn't playing well at halftime. They could have put Kirk Cousins in at half, and the Falcons might have actually had a chance to come back in that game, but instead he waits until the game's out of hand. It made no sense to me. I'm like, well, why are you putting him in there? Put the third-string quarterback in there and let him get some reps with the first-string offense. How many times does he get that in practice? Probably not a lot, but completely disappointing outcome in that game. And overall, just the week in general. Another one, the Raiders, a game I flip-flopped back and forth on because of the travel situation for the Raiders, but I thought, Marcus Mariota, he might keep him in the game, but, the Raiders could keep it within 3. They have Carlson, their great field goal kicker. Their special teams was horrendous. They had one kickoff return for a touchdown. I think maybe two. I know they had Debo Samuel had took the opening kickoff back like 70 yards. Gave them great field position. They basically were off and running from that point. And then, Geno Smith did not look good at all. There was a part in that third quarter where he just looked like he didn't know what the defense was doing. He was actually almost afraid to throw the ball. He just kept taking sacks or throwing the ball away. It was an incredible display. Their offensive line for the Raiders is bad. Austin Gentry has more yards after contact than he actually has rushing because he's getting hit behind the line of scrimmage. So the Raiders got a lot of issues, and they're going up against Chicago at home. And then Baltimore, man. Derrick Henry with another big fumble. Lamar Jackson with, just inability to keep possession of the ball. Dude won't throw the ball away on a second down or a first down when there's nobody open. Like, throw it at the feet of one of your guys. He doesn't do it. He takes sacks. I think they had 7 sacks tonight, Detroit did. It's terrible. You're never going to win like that. He's never going to make it past the really good teams playing football like that. He has to learn how to actually play quarterback. He has to actually understand that sometimes it's better to throw the ball away and live for the next play than to try to make a play on every single opportunity that you have. Like, come on, man. How many years has he been in the league now? You got to figure it out. So, yeah, tough finish for the week, man, with that way that game ended. I was rooting for overtime, hoping maybe the Ravens could win by 6, but nope. They lose by 14. And they were just manhandled by the offensive line of Detroit. The Buffalo Bills, if they remain healthy, they'll beat Baltimore. They've already got the tiebreaker. They've already got home field advantage if it becomes between the two teams because of the head-to-head matchup. So, yep, Baltimore had no answers for him. Now, obviously, with Matabuke and Van Noy being out, that definitely helped. But the offense couldn't keep – when they had that long drive, the 98-yard drive after an 11-play drive, I was like, they can't punt. Like, the Baltimore Ravens cannot punt here and expect to win because their defense is already gassed from these 2 long drives, and they're literally just putting them right back out on the field. And what do? They go 3 and out. Like, fuck, man. I mean, they ended up tying the game, but their defense was gassed. They got to learn how to beat good teams. Until Lamar Jackson starts learning that throwing the ball away is a better result than a sack, they're always going to be second best. They're going to be that other team, the one they do the documentary on about the lost rings, the ones that got away, if they actually make it to a Super Bowl. I think if Baltimore actually makes it to a Super Bowl, they'll win it. But until they do, I don't know if they get out of the AFC. I mean, it's so stacked with great teams. But, yep. So that's how it shakes out. The top 5 in week 3 on the Circa Millions went 1-4. So everybody seems to be struggling. Now, the leaders right now, the person that's in first place is 14-1. I mean, they just went 5-0 after going 4-1 last week and 5-0 to start. So, I mean, they're 8 points ahead of me already, which is just so sickening because I've said it. You need to be around 15 points at the end of the first 4 weeks in order to be on par to hit 60, which is what you need. So unless I can put together a couple of 5-0 weeks, man, I can't have these losing weeks. I know 2-3. I mean, 3-2 would have barely moved me up into like 1,800th position, outside the top 1,000, but close. Now we're in the middle of the pack. It is still early, but you can't have these losing weeks and expect to cash in this contest because, like I said, the first place person is 14-1. They're 8 points ahead of me. That means not only do I have to have a good week or a great week, like a 5-0 week, but that person has to have a negative week. They have to go 2-3 or 3-2, and then you're still only gaining 2 points on a 5-0 week. Yeah, this has been a brutal start. Next week, hopefully a little bit better, but man, got to start picking better teams, man. Stop being so fucking decisive. I'm swapping out my picks at the last moment, even though I had the Rams and I had the Broncos, two teams that lost in heartbreaking fashion. So, especially the Rams, man. If anybody out there had Rams plus 3.5, I feel for you. That shit was brutal. Brutal. Oh, what a way to lose. Like, dude, just go down. But he was running wide open, so why not score the touchdown? I wonder if he knows. I wonder if he knew like what the point spread was, knowing that touchdown was gonna like cover the spread for all the Philly backers. But so yep, 2-3. Now Circa Survivor, there were some big losses in Circa Survivor this week. The Packers and the Falcons both lost. That's around 3,000 entries right there. Then the Texans lost right here. There's another 49. The Ravens just lost, knocking out 30 more. You can add the Patriots there, 11 more. The Raiders 4. The Titans 2. The Saints 2. The Dolphins 1. The Cardinals 1. And 13 entries that didn't submit a pick. So, I mean, you had, I think it's somewhere in the neighborhood of like 3,300 entries that got knocked out. So out of 1,600 or 16,938, you just knocked out 3,300 more entries. I mean, that's just week 3. You know what I mean? So that's a big chunk to take out in week 3. What is that? 1, 2. It's essentially like 15, 18% of the entire field, something like that. Somewhere in that neighborhood around it. It's not completely 20, I don't think. It's about 18, 17. But that's a lot of people. I mean, 3,300, that's $3.3 million worth of entries that just got knocked out at $1,000 a pop. And I know a lot of people, like, you can put up to 10 entries in under your name or whatever. So a lot of people do. A lot of people do more than 10. They'll do 10 in their name and 10 in somebody else's name, that like their girlfriends or some shit, that they're both in it together or partnered, whatever. But a lot of people use the same team like multiple times in 1 week. So I guarantee you this Packers one, that was probably devastating. Because you're going to have people who lost like 5 entries all on the Packers, you know. And that's just tough. Because, I mean, against the Cleveland Browns, they're 8.5-point favorites. You expect them to at least win the game. And, I mean, a lot of people, I'm sure, were watching that field goal, the one that got blocked, thinking, come on, you know, all I need is for you to win. I don't care about my bet, you know, laying the points with Green Bay. Just give me the dub. Let me get through another week. Nope. The football gods had other plans. I mean, the Falcons were never in that game. By halftime, anyone who picked the Falcons knew they were screwed. They looked so inept, especially in the red zone. When their new field goal kicker, who's already getting competition brought in against him, missed the first field goal and then missed another one where it would have been 7-6 and the game would have been tight. Nope. They're settling for these 50-yard field goals because their offense couldn't move the ball with arguably one of the best running backs in football. Something's wrong with that. They need to figure it out, and fast. They're already behind the Bucs, who are undefeated and down 1 game at home. They got to still play Tampa Bay in Tampa. But then the other contest, the Grandissimo, the big $100,000 buy-in, winner takes all $6.9 million prize pool. We had some losses. We had the we already lost one last week with the Steelers. This week the Packers were eliminated. That was 8. The Falcons were eliminated. That was 2. So you have 10 entries or $1 million worth of entry fees just knocked out in week 3, down to 58 entries. I don't think this contest, there's 20 weeks if they were to go all the way to the end. And I don't think this contest is going to make it that far. Because once it gets down to one person, no matter how far along they are, it's over. That person wins. Like, they don't have to keep going and be perfect all the way through the year. They just basically got to outlast the other guys, the survivor, survive to the last person, no matter when it is. So I actually think this contest will be over certainly before the Christmas weekend, maybe even by the Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving might actually be the weekend that decides who wins this contest. But yeah, 10 people, 8 on the Packers, man. That's just brutal. $800,000 worth of entry fees. Basically 11.8, 12% of the field eliminated on that one, and then another 3% eliminated by the Falcons. 49ers just barely squeaked by in that one, or they could have been out. Colts handled business. Bucks needed a miracle too. They were almost eliminated. Chiefs handled their business. Bills and Seahawks were no sweats, basically. But man, what a weekend of football. I mean, it sucks to go 2-3, man. I was really looking forward to this Baltimore team handling business, because I know they beat Detroit pretty badly the last time they played in Baltimore, but they were missing some pieces in Baltimore, and Detroit's a much better team. They're a much more well-coached team. And, they're all the way well-rounded. And Lamar Jackson taking too many sacks, man. Too much indecision. Like, he needed to just take off and run instead of, like, dancing around as much as he did and then getting sacked instead of throwing the ball away. It's like, either run it or just throw it away. One of the two. But don't just dance around. But, all right, so those are the games. That's how Sunday shook out. We can turn this on. We've got the lines up for week 4 already. Yeah, they've been up for a while, but they've been getting bet up, so they're getting more refined. And obviously Seahawks and Cardinals, we have the gambling parlor. Thursday night football, we'll be going live streaming when the Circa lines are released, seeing exactly what the numbers are and what games we're starting to lean towards for the final selection on Saturday. But, we're not using Thursday night football, so we can just forget about that. The Cardinals, they've got some issues with injuries and drops, and they're just not playing very well on offense, but they're getting by. I mean, they lost to the 49ers. Even after Joey Bosa went out with an injury early in that game, they still couldn't get the win. Their defense let Mac Jones move the ball in the field goal position. And the Seahawks, they've looked good. Obviously, they beat up on a bad Saints team. And it just seemed like they had like special teams plays and non-offensive touchdowns. And once it just started snowballing on them, I think the Saints, they were just like going through the motions. They just wanted to get out of there without getting injured and fly back all the way back to Louisiana. It's a long flight all the way out to Seattle. Now they had to return back home after getting their butt spanked. But so the Seahawks, they're the better team here. That's who I would go with. James Conner's injury is tough. but we're not using that in the contest. But I lean Seattle. I would bet the money line. Vikings and Steelers. This is the game in Dublin. This is the first international game. Vikings will play two games. Bet them on the second game for sure, but not this one. I'm not doing anything with this one. Um, I still like the Vikings. The Steelers were so lucky, and I had them as one of my selections. We were so lucky to get that. If it wasn't for the fumbles, they would have got smoked by New England. So it was just fumble luck on behalf of the Steelers that they were even able to win that game. They were completely outplayed, and I certainly think the Vikings are the better team here. Their defense is playing better. They're going to be getting guys back who were injured at the beginning of the year. J.J. McCarthy's already been ruled out, but Carson Wentz played okay. They're not asking him to do too much. And I almost saw glimpses of the Carson Wentz that I hate, because he danced around and scrambled around in that game, and he almost tried to do one of them hero ball throws, and he didn't. He took a sack instead, and I was like, maybe he's learning. Maybe he's learning sometimes it's better just to hold on to the ball than to try to throw it up in the air and let the other team get it. Chargers and Giants. Giants had a real chance to win that game against Kansas City. The score may not reflect it, but there was a couple of turnover opportunities that it could have broke their way. We might see Jackson Dart, so some question marks about that one. And then the Chargers won the game. Tough divisional game against Denver. I don't think they're 6.5-point favorites, so I would have to take the points with the Giants in this one. At home, they're traveling across the country. We'll have to see with the quarterback, though. If Jackson Dart makes his first start, though, I don't think I'll have anything to do with that one. This line's been moving, but I originally liked the Patriots at -4.5. It's already moving against the Patriots because the sharps or somebody's betting the Panthers, or betting the Patriots. I mean, but I don't think it's going to go much past 5.5. But still, I mean, the Patriots, like I said, they completely outplayed the Steelers last weekend and should have won that game at home had it not been for the 5 fumbles. And again, you can kind of predict interceptions because quarterbacks that are inaccurate and don't they make reckless plays that give the defense an opportunity to pick it off. But fumbles are like totally unpredictable. You just never know when they're going to happen. Just at the freakiest times. And we Houston Texans, another game we won with Jacksonville, very easily could have won that game. They were driving into scoring range with the game tied, basically ready to run the clock out and kick the field or attempt a field goal that would have won the game. And Nico Collins fumbles the ball, and the Jags score to win the game. So, yeah, I mean, just that fluky play completely changed, the entire outcome, or else I'd be staring at a 1-4 week, which is even worse. So we're leaning Patriots. I'd love to see this number come back down to 4.5, but I don't think it's going to happen. We'll see, though. It's kind of a big number with Drake May. Still got to watch out for the injuries. Bucks and Eagles, another team that's in injury purgatory with their offensive line, but they still won against the Jets and their strong defense. Eagles, I mean, what can you say about the finish of that game? From the Rams attempting what was a makeable field goal to win the game when the Eagles were up by 1, to not only blocking the kick, that was a great play in and of itself, but the same guy recovering it and running it back 70 yards to score 6 points and cover Eagles -3.5. I mean, Rams backers, and I literally had the slide made up with Los Angeles Rams +3.5 for the picks show. And I got off of it because I was too concerned about either team could have won. And, if the Philly won, I thought they would cover the spread. And they ended up doing it in the most ridiculous fashion, but nobody cares how it got there. They just want the win. And everybody with Eagles -3.5 went from a W or went from an L to a W. So congratulations on that one. And the Rams were a top 5 selection too in the Circa Millions contest. So that was good for everybody else that they didn't win or cover the spread at least. Commanders and Falcons. They still haven't announced what's going on with Jaden Daniels. Who the hell knows what's going on with the quarterback of the Falcons? They've got kicking issues. They've got offensive issues in the red zone. I mean, their defense is okay, but when the offense is playing like shit and can't do anything and can't score any points, eventually the defense is going to get gashed. They're already missing A.J. Terrell. I do not like this at all. I would certainly lean Commanders. I don't like, and this is in Atlanta, and I just don't like it. Now, if it's Mariota, we'll see where this number goes, but I'm not touching this game this week. The Falcons, they've lost my. I tried to ride with them after them getting me the win in week 2, and just like normal, they let me down right away. The very next week, fucking 30-0, unbelievable. Wasn't even close. Like, at least Baltimore had a shot till the end. Browns are taking on the Lions in Detroit. The Browns' defense is really good. Really good. Detroit's offense is really good. Detroit's defense is pretty good. Cleveland's offense is not very good. This is a big number if it stays 7.5. I know after this game that they just beat Baltimore, everybody's going to be loving on the Lions because they hung 50-something on Chicago and just put 38 up against Baltimore. But Cleveland's defense is really good, so I have a hard time. I don't want to lay 7.5 with Joe Flacco, but I also don't. Or I don't want to take 7.5 with Joe Flacco, but I also don't want to lay 7.5 with Detroit against this Cleveland defense. So we'll have to do some more in-depth review, but that one's on the short list of no. And then we've got the where's my book? Titans and Texans. Texans are 0-3, 3 heartbreaking losses. I actually like them this week, but the 7's a killer. We got to watch the Titans' defensive injuries. Is Tavondre Sweat and any of the other guys that were out are going to be back. But I like Houston in this game. I like them to win. I think their defense is pretty good. Their offensive line is terrible. They have no running game, but I think they could exploit the weaknesses of the Titans, and their defense is going to create some turnovers and give them some either easy short fields or maybe even scores of points themselves. The offensive line could just learn to block, man. The Texans wouldn't be half bad. So I lean Texans right now. It's on the short list. Saints and Bills, this is a huge number. I don't want anything to do with this game. Plus 16.5. I know the Bills normally win by margin, but you're talking about 17 points against a professional football team. And this could be one of those games where the Bills maybe take their foot off the gas towards the end of the game and let the Saints get back in it. Yeah, I don't want anything to do with this game. This number is just ridiculous. Colts and Rams. Colts still undefeated. Covered the spread. They've been everybody's early season darlings. Rams obviously got that heartbreaker, but they outplayed Philly. They really did. They needed, I think, 2 blocked kicks or whatever to win that game. Yeah, the Rams really did well against Saquon and Hurts and everything. It was definitely a good game. It's a tough loss, but they're at home taking on the Colts, who everybody's loving. But their defense just lost Kenny Moore. They had to go out and sign some guy off the street. I know Jonathan Taylor in the offense has been good. Alex Pierce is in concussion protocol. I like the Rams -3.5. Keep an eye on this number. Keep an eye on the injury report, but I think the Rams defense is really good. They're going to be able to hold Daniel Jones and the Colts down, and their offense will score points with Adams and Nakua and Kyron Williams and everybody, and McVay will dial it up. They're at home. I like the Rams here. I'll lay the 3.5. Next up is Jacksonville. It was originally 4.5. It's gone to 3.5. Nick Bosa's out for the 49ers. That's brutal. The Jags, man, their offense didn't look great. Trevor Lawrence, he got the dub for us, but they very easily should have lost. They should have lost that game if Nico Collins doesn't fumble. So they're like they're smoke and mirrors right now with the Jags. Their record is kind of it's misleading because some of these games really, really easily could have gone the other way. Well, they beat up on Carolina the first week, and then they lost to Cincinnati, even though they were on a backup quarterback, and then like I said, they got lucky against Houston. The 49ers are in like injury hell, man. They're losing so many people, so it's hard not to take the Jags, but it was 4.5. Now it's 3.5, so we'll have to keep an eye on that. I like the Jaguars, but only because of these injuries, especially to Bosa. I mean, he's if not Fred Warner, they're like 1 and 2, their best players on defense. Ravens at the Chiefs, good game. Ravens are minus 2.5 point or 3-point favorites, depending on where you're shopping at the Kansas City Chiefs. And the Chiefs got the win in New York, so they're off the schneid. They've got one, and now they've got Baltimore and Lamar Jackson coming in off of this butt whooping by Detroit. Short rest for the Ravens. This is going to be a tough game for them. I would take the Chiefs plus the 3 here. And expect their defense to play well. They know these team. They know this team because they've played them in the playoffs and in the regular season the last couple of years. And as dynamic as Lamar has been, man, I mean, Derrick Henry now has gotten like 3 fumbles in his last, or 2 fumbles at least this year. Lamar Jackson just, I don't know. He looks indecisive at times, and he needs to just make a decision and go. So I like Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs here. They might be getting Xavier Worthy back, so that would be a big help as long as he's 100%. Bears and Raiders. Chicago looked great against Dallas's devastated, weak-ass defense. And the Raiders got their butts kicked by the Commanders and their special teams. But now they're at home, but this is going to be basically a home game for the Bears. There's going to be a lot of Raiders fans there. I mean, a lot of Chicago fans in Vegas because they'll just come out for the weekend, stay in Vegas for the weekend, and go to the game as part of their vacation. So I'm sure they've already got it planned out. So Chicago's going to have a whole lot of people in the stands. And I don't trust Geno Smith. I think Ben Johnson might have something figured out with his offense. The offensive line for the Raiders is bad. And if Chicago can get back some of their pieces, I know they put one of their best defensive guy, Johnson, on the IR. But the guys that are playing have played the first 3 weeks. Preseason's over now. They're starting to gel because the guy's been out. So give me the Bears in this one. I know it's probably the square side, but I can't get behind this offensive line of the Raiders. Just can't do it. I'm going to have to check the Bears, what their metrics are against the run. Packers and Cowboys. Good game. Cowboys are missing the CD Lamb's now injured too, along with their defensive backs all out, Deron Bland and Diggs. Packers just lost a heartbreaker. Showed you on the Circa Million or the Circa Survivor all the entries that got eliminated in that one, almost over 1,800. And they're 7-point favorites on the road. They beat the shit out of the Cowboys, I think, in the playoffs last time, but we'll see where this number falls. I like the Packers in this game to win. I know Dak's looked good, but without CD Lamb, man, they don't really have much of a running game. and their defense is bad. Jordan Love will carve them up. Yeah, he struggled last week, but that was against Cleveland's defense, which is like one of the best. They showed some clips of Myles Garrett beating the Green Bay offensive line, and the offensive line screaming, "Run, Jordan! Run, Jordan!" Because he was about to get murdered by Myles Garrett. So, yeah, I like the Packers in this one. I think they're going to rebound off of that fluky loss to the Cleveland Browns and get on the right track. I'd love it at 6.5 instead of the full 7. So hopefully that number goes down. Some people have some faith in the Cowboys. Jets and Dolphins. Tyrod Taylor is not Tyrod Taylor of old. He threw an interception in that game. I like Miami in this one. I think their offense is better than the Jets. The Jets' defense is okay. Obviously, Quinn Williams is great. But I don't know. I'm going to have to look because the Dolphins have had extra time to prepare. They played Thursday night. We'll have to see what their defense is going to look like. Because, I mean, they did all right against the Bills. I mean, James Cook still had a big game. But they kept themselves in that game for most of it until the couple of plays. The roughing the kicker on the block punt attempt was a killer. And then, obviously, Tua's interception at the end of the game when they were going in for a chance to tie it. So I like that Miami's offense here. It's -2.5. Again, discussed it earlier that -2.5 is the most popular spread people pick in the Circa Millions. So proceed with caution. And then these are the Monday night games. The last one is Bengals at the Broncos. Broncos have lost 3 heartbreaking games. So glad that I was off of them. Even though I went 2-3, I would have ended up in the same boat because I would have had the Rams and the Broncos. But the way those teams lose was just heartbreaking. At least with the Falcons, that game was out of hand, and I knew I was going to lose that one. And same thing with the Steelers or with the Raiders. I knew that game was pretty much toast by the third quarter. There was a glimmer of hope there where they could have gotten it inside the number, and then they went with the onside kick, didn't get it, and Washington scored a touchdown, and that put any hopes out. But I don't know. Jake Browning has looked horrible. The Bengals offense is not doing anything, and we knew their defense was going to not be good. Broncos, I mean, they're playing some good competition. They're just losing heartbreakers, but 7.5 seems like a big number, so I'm probably going to just steer clear of this one altogether because I don't have a good read on either one of these teams right now. I mean, if I was going to pick a team to win, it would be the Broncos, but I don't know if I can lay over a touchdown. Jake Browning could suddenly turn it on because they got the players. They have Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, Chase Brown, so I mean they've got the guys. Dude's got to stop throwing the ball to the wrong team. That's all. I mean, Isaiah Rodgers is going to be defensive player of the week. He had two returns for touchdowns, 2 non-offensive touchdowns. So I'm sure he's going to win that one. But so there's the week's spreads and what we think. Obviously, we'll be on Thursday night when the lines are finally released. And we can go over week 4 and hopefully put together a 5-0 week and get us on the positive side. I mean, just finishing 11-9 would be great. Even finishing 10-10 at 50% after the way week 1 was tough going 1-4. But the fact that we should have been 4-1 had the Broncos not gotten called for leverage in week 2, and then Baltimore just pooping down their leg could have gave us a 3-2 week. We'd at least be at 7-8, 1 away. Now we're 3 behind in the just being 500. But I know the guys that are leaders right now will struggle. I've watched this. I've been in this contest long enough to know that the people who are going 5-0, the one that's 14-1 right now, that won't last. He's going to have a negative week. You just have to be able to capitalize and have a strong 4-1 or 5-0 week in order to make up ground on those guys because they're going to struggle. Everybody does. Everybody struggles. They always have a couple of weeks where it's negative. You just got to be on the right side. The fact that we weren't in the top 5 was a good indication that at least we're reading that part of the contest well. Now it's just a matter of actually getting the winners and getting positive weeks instead of losing weeks. But that's it for this week's Late Night at the Lounge. Our weekly recap of our selections for the Circa Millions and just the overall other football contests here in Nevada or Las Vegas area and Nevada because I go to the casino that's in Reno to sign up for the Circa contest, not the one in Vegas. But those are it. That's it for the week. We'll be streaming on YouTube on Thursday night for the Thursday night football matchup between the Seattle Seahawks and the Arizona Cardinals. That's going to be a fun game to watch. We'll be here for the entire game starting at 5:15 and come and join us. The Circa lines will have been released by then, and we'll be able to get a better understanding of what 5 games we're looking at for week 4. Hopefully we could get the 5-0 and get us back over 500 and in the hunt for that $1 million prize. Well, to everyone out there, I want to thank you for joining me. And that is it. Everybody have a good night. I hope you have a great week and let all your bets be winners.